was there, and I've known Ron for a while, and Ron's always got really cool stuff. Well, one of the things I like about Ron is that this dude is legitimate as legitimate comes. Everybody else talks about, you know, ClickBank, #1 seller, yada, 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 but they've only done it in the internet marketing niche. Well, Ron's done it in the cookbook niche. and it's incredible because he hasn't just done ClickBank. He's actually a New York Times bestseller. And he's been on Home Shopping Network. You know, you want to talk about, some people say, oh, I was at this big seminar and I spoke and, you know, this and that, and I was on some local satellite cable news station that's affiliated somehow with Fox. Ron's actually been on Fox and Friends. He's actually been on Home Shopping Network pitching his cookbook. I think, how many times, Ron? 6 times?
7 times, HSM.
7 times, yeah. And Good Morning America, you were on there too, right?
Yeah, Good Morning America once. You know, pretty much anywhere they let me get on and promote my book.
Exactly. So that's so great because Ron's got the digital sales and he's also got the physical sales because you got to deal with, is it Simon & Schuster?
Yeah, Simon & Schuster sold over 1 million books with them since 2009.
Over 1 million books, and it wasn't in the internet marketing niche. So that's what I like about Ron. This guy, you want to talk about big business style, not just some internet marketing tactics, but big business style, thinking with kind of the mass solution, if you will. This guy's got it, and so it's always great to talk to Ron, and it's even better when I can get him on this call and he's not busy being a media giant all across the country. And so that's what I've arranged for you today, where Ron's going to come on and he's going to share with you some really interesting concepts about making money with videos, including, I know we are going to reveal later, there's a way to make money with video without even owning a camera, but even better, without even owning Camtasia or any screen capture recording software, if you will. So you're going to want to stay for the whole time to check all this good stuff out. And that's my introduction. I'm going to flip it over to you, Ron, and I'm just going to watch, listen, and learn.
Thanks a lot, Jason. I really appreciate that. You know, that's high praise coming from you. You're very established yourself, so I appreciate all the kind words. And thank you all for coming on today to listen to me teach a bunch of things about making money from viral videos. I have a pretty unique concept. I don't know anybody else who's teaching this stuff, and it's really based on personal experience. So I know that it works. So I hope you have a pen and pad ready, and we're going to fire away. And we're going to keep it, I don't like doing 2-hour webinars, so we're probably going to keep it about 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to go through this pretty fast, so we're going to have some pretty good stuff for you to take in. So I like to start off my presentation just by showing my whole motivation for doing all this stuff, and the main benefit that I get from this business, from the publishing business, is freedom. Freedom to watch my kids grow up, freedom to be there with them and spend as much time with them as possible. You know, I don't have to worry about getting back to my desk before my lunch hour is over. You know, I don't have to worry about some idiot boss telling me when I can take vacation. You know, I come and go as I please. I'm my own boss, and that's lifestyle. It's all about lifestyle. You know, if you gave me, $10 extra million, it wouldn't change my lifestyle at all. I'll still be doing the same things, which is spending time with the people I love. So hopefully some of the things I teach you can help you find the lifestyle that you want. And it's not about having $1 million. It's about, if your expenses for a comfortable lifestyle is $5,000 a month, if you're making $7,500 a month, from your business, then you're living the same lifestyle as someone that has a lot of money. So just keep that in mind. So Jason alluded to the Warrior event in North Carolina last time I saw him in person, and this is a picture from the Warrior event there. And I look crazy. I look like I'm trying to hypnotize the crowd, but I was really into my speech. But to tell you a little bit more about me, I'm an MBA. Chartered financial analyst. I did the whole corporate America thing. Spent 10 years in internet marketing so far. I started a company back in 2001. I'm a New York Times best-selling author, and as Jason mentioned, I've been featured on Good Morning America, Home Shopping Network, Fox, ABC, People News, People Magazine, pretty much wherever they let me get on and talk about my book. And I was a corporate reject. Practically every job that I had after college, I either got fired or laid off or left because I knew I was about to get laid off. So I kind of hopped around, and the corporate world really wasn't for me. I was kind of like, a head case. I wasn't, I thought I knew more than the bosses. I thought these guys don't know anything about marketing, and I thought they were idiots, and I thought I could run a company better than they could. So it's not being arrogant, but it's just me being confident and knowing that it was time for me to start my own business. So luckily I found my niche, and I'm now a full-time work-at-home dad. I'll give you a brief history of how I got here, where I'm at today. Right after college, I had struggled to find a job, and I was really broke, man. I was down to my last, $100. I was selling jewelry just to pay the rent. I was living in a basement studio apartment, and I finally found a job that I didn't really want as a college grad, but the only thing I could find was a job working at Staples. So there I was, and this is not too long ago. This might have been, let me see, I graduated in 96, so this might have been like 96, 97. And I went back to school, got a job at JP Morgan through a hookup that, my basketball coach in college knew this guy. Actually, his sister worked at JP Morgan, got me in there, and went back to school. They paid for my MBA. And then I met a guy in grad school who got a job working for a company that pretty much spammed cell phone contracts for AT&T and MCI and those type of companies at the time. And he introduced me to list building. And I thought to myself early on, it would be really cool if you could build a list that actually looks forward to receiving your emails rather than dealing with spam complaints all the time. So I really got into list building very early on back in 2001, and I would build lists to promote affiliate offers, or mainly off of ClickBank. And I started putting my own products out there. I was kind of just throwing stuff against the wall to see what would stick in different markets, different niches, including the internet marketing niche. I had a product where I interviewed a bunch of different experts, threw it out there. But the first home run that I hit, I had a few singles, but the first home run I hit was a ebook that I put out. And my hobby was cooking, was one of my passions. So I put out an ebook. I discovered what was called a copycat recipe market. So I would try to copycat restaurant recipes. So I put out an ebook on ClickBank, and it only had about 12 restaurant recipes, like my version of 12 different restaurant recipes, like Red Lobster biscuits, KFC chicken, Olive Garden lasagna, recipes like that. Put it out there, and it really became a home run. Affiliates started picking it up. The site started getting a lot of traffic, and we ended up selling 60,000 copies of that ebook, self-published, off of ClickBank, and we turned it into a physical book, and we sold that on our website, recipesecrets.net. And we built a huge following on the site. We had built over 200,000 email subscribers on that site, because when people didn't want to buy the cookbook, we would offer them free sample recipes, and we had all these affiliates and everybody sending us traffic, and we were building such a big list. So we built a huge following, which led to getting a book deal with Simon & Schuster in 2009. Got a $300,000 advance. Actually, the first deal I got was for 2 books, and it was a $100,000 advance. And then that first book sold so well that they signed me up for 2 more books back in 2010 and gave me another $200,000. So total $300,000 in advances, plus the media attention that came along with that book. Plus, we ended up selling over 1.1 million books since 2009. So that was truly a blessing. So that's pretty much how I got to where I am. And along the way, in 10 years, I had a bunch of less famous hits, not really home runs, but hits, such as Traffic Sage, which is a SEO service that many of the top gurus use and have used, and the site I'm going to talk about today, which is Video Forward. It's been a huge success, but all this stuff has kind of been overshadowed by the cookbook stuff, because that's what gets me on TV. But this other stuff is very lucrative also, like full-time income. And just to show you that, I'm not just making this stuff up, this is an email I got. This was actually back in February. So we sold, it shows 810,000 copies in print and 291,000 copies of the second book. So well over 1.1 million books in print And since February, we've actually sold all of those books as well. So this is my publisher at Simon & Schuster, an email from her. And as I said, I do more than just sell cookbooks. You know, TrafficSage.com is my SEO service. Daniel Milano was one of our clients. We helped him get a first page ranking for the term business consulting. He still has 6 or 7 accounts with us for different small businesses that he represents. Stephen Pierce, one of the top names in internet marketing, is a client. Mike Filsaime was a client. Telman Knudsen. Mike Geary from Truth About Abs. He has I think a $47 ab ebook, and he does so much traffic to that site, and we've helped him with it. That I think he does $400,000 a month just selling ab ebooks and how to get ab, you know, 6-pack abs. Kevin Riley, popular guy on the Warrior Forum. James Franco, Rick Deere, and Robert Allen. Robert Allen had that book called The 1 Minute Millionaire, and we did a lot of SEO work for them, but I still haven't figured out how to crack the code on that 1 minute millionaire thing. Still working on that. In terms of list building is one of my accounts. And I'm just showing you all this stuff, you know, briefly just to show you why you should listen to me. I have over 270,000 email subscribers, as you can see here at the bottom. And Weber, this is stats from one of my sites. You know, a lot of people will show you one good month in terms of traffic. This is the whole year of 2010. And you can see I get well over 400,000 unique visitors a month. And for the year 2010, I had close to 24 million page views, which is about 2 million page views a month on average. According to Compete.com, I get more traffic than the Warrior Forum and SitePoint put together. And this is an old graph. Now, I think the Warrior Forum has gotten more traffic now, but it just shows you, you know, relatively speaking, I'm getting a lot of traffic, and I know how to generate traffic. I've been doing it for years. Some of my appearances, this is me. This is one of my appearances on Home Shopping Network. And, you know, some of these TV shows, people ask me, like, what is it like being on TV? Well, they usually call you up. A lot of times they're real inconsiderate. Like, they'll call you 4 o'clock the day before and tell you that, you know, can you make it? They ask you, can you make it for a segment at 5 a.m.? So you're like, okay, 5 a.m. And they're like, yeah, we're going to send a car for you at 4 a.m. And we need you to cook a couple of these dishes to have it ready here. So I would have to cook all these dishes, have it ready by 4 a.m. in the morning to get in the car and do a 5 a.m. segment. And the segment's only like, you know, between 5 and 10 minutes max. So, you know, you can't turn it down because there's so much great exposure. But you get there, and it's just a regular office building. Like if you imagine an office building, you go in, you see a security guard, they give you a sticker like a visitor's pass, and you go through a little turnstile, you go up an elevator, you go to like the 16th floor or something, then as soon as you walk through the door, you buzz yourself in, or someone buzzes you in, and there's nothing but cubicles. And you're like, is this a TV studio? What the hell is this? There's nothing but cubicles. And then in the back, there's one little section in the back that has a green room, and then to the left of that is a big studio where they have all the cameras and everything going, like one big room. But everything else just looks like a regular office building with people working in cubicles. It's just the strangest thing. So this is me on Studio B with Shep Smith, popular show on Fox. This is ABC News Now. Actually made this cheesecake for that lady. She was loving it. This is my version of Junior's Cheesecake in New York. She could barely talk. She was just sucking down cheesecake during the whole interview. This is me on the Wendy Williams show. Wendy Williams, I went out there. It was my first time being on daytime television. So I get out there,